How's that? Is that better? Can you hear that? Did I fix it? Did I fix the audio? I hope. I hope I fixed the audio. Let's see here. Can you hear me now? All right, we got audio. Fantastic. I added the audio capture. There was supposed to be on like some music in that startup intro. I'm trying this whole OBS thing, and it tells you add the video, and I'm thinking it's going to add the audio to the video, but you got to then add, bro. It's a whole thing. Professor Grass has been helping me out there, bro. I really appreciate it. Okay, he's been giving me the things that I need to look up and see what the hell is going on, bro. We got James out in the chat. What's up, James? We got Mr. Jiki out in the chat. We got FOMO, Forest Mommy. Always good to see you. Professor Grass. We got all our people out here, okay? We got, I think I saw the Ripoff first in here. What's up? Shout out to the Ripoff first. And we got, who else we got in there? We got, bro, we just doing it today. We just doing it flying by the seat of our pants, man. Bro, I had this huge storm last night. Went crazy. Knocked over a tree in the backyard. Knocked over a fence. I got to like worry about that later. But you know what? We weren't phased. We kept cruising. We kept going through, didn't we? We got our coffee. We got Marge. I hope you got your drink today. Hope you got something strong. It's early in the morning over here, 11:15. You know what I mean? I don't know how it is for you. But how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for coming by on this Saturday. We're about to have a good time, okay? We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I got the new setup going on, which is, I didn't know it was going to be a whole research project. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole research project, all right? And you got to learn a lot of stuff. I already been researching how to make the chat pop up there, how to do the overlays, how to do all this stuff. I didn't know I was going to have to go back to college to get this stuff done. But hey, it's fun. I like it, I like chatting with you guys. I like having a good time. It's a little social outlet for me, besides talking to all my drug dealers and my prostitutes and a couple of pimps that I deal with. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, all right? So thanks for being here, okay? We got Sunday Fun Day tomorrow. Gonna do some fun cooking. I'm excited about that. I already got that lined up. I'm probably might even start shooting that today after this live. I don't know. I might get hungry. Okay, might do that. All right. We just finished our 30-day challenge. Bro, how awesome is that? Okay. Now the whole point of the concept of these 30-day challenges is to demonstrate to you and to me too, because I'm going through it too. I'm changing my life. Right. Is to demonstrate how easy and how quick you can change your life after 30 days, okay? You just, whatever you want to do, just do it consistently, stay stoked, stay excited, don't get beaten down by the critical eye, and, get your schedule lined up. And after 30 days, it's a whole new pattern in your life, a whole new behavior pattern that you're going to do, okay? It's a new habit. That's what you got to do, okay? Whether it's cooking, eating, dating, meeting people, being more outgoing, becoming a sniper, shooting guns or throwing knives. There was this whole time when I was back in college that I remember I went to this knife store. Bro, I was so stoked to go to the knife store, right? And I found some of these throwing knives, right? And so I bought them. I couldn't buy the really expensive ones, so I just bought these throwing knives. I was all stoked. I was going to learn how to throw the knives. Like Steven Seagal used to do back in the day, back in, Under Siege, bro. He was just throwing them knives, dog, just throwing them. You think you're going to have a gun? Don't worry about it. I'm going to throw the knives. You know what I'm saying? And so he was just throwing them knives. So I thought that's what I was going to do. And, I thought, I played baseball and I was a pitcher through college and all that kind of stuff. So, I could throw. I ain't too shabby about the throwing. I got the gun right there. I ain't too shabby about that. So then I figured out, bro, you can't just throw knives all willy-nilly. You got to build some big back thing so that the knives stick in them and don't go through and kill somebody randomly when they're walking by in your backyard or something like that. And I just got overwhelmed by the fact that I had to build this big, target or whatever to be able to do that. So I was like, damn, I can't. I got held up by it. Anyway, so I was moving some boxes the other day. This was back when I was in college. So flash forward to today, this time frame, the last month, I was moving some boxes. I was looking for some frames that I made, and I came across a box that had them throwing knives. And you know what? I never did throw them knives once. Can you believe that? I never since then, since back in college, I never threw them knives. It's been some years, and so I got them out. I looked at them and I was like, damn, I was so excited to buy them, and then the obstacle of building that target and all that bullshit just kind of was overwhelming and stopped me in my tracks. And then it stayed in stasis for however many years it was, and I never got to throw them throwing knives. So I'm going to try and do that. But that's one thing for me. And I say the same thing for you. Is there anything in your boxes, right, that you pulled out and you had this big grand designs, big desires for it, and you're really excited, and then you got overwhelmed by life, or you got overwhelmed by just what's going on in the world, or even trying to accomplish something, like maybe you wanted to be a big pie baker and put it in the California State Fair or the fair or whatever, but you just got, it was too much for you, and a lot of it's just psychological. So that's what we talk about here. We try to get into the psychological nitty gritty of unburdening ourselves and overcoming those obstacles so that we can achieve the goals that we were excited about back when we were still shiny new, bright and shiny, still had those flecks of hope in our eyes. And how do we get that back? How do we keep that? How do we grow that? How do we spread that? That's the big question, okay? So we just finished our third 30-day challenge, right? Demonstrating the capability and the possibility of changing your life through 30 minutes a day, maintaining a schedule and just getting that thing done. We started out with the sketchbook, we want the watercolor, and we just did the heads. Today's actually the 30th day, but we're here shooting the shit, having a good time. It's what we're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying, people? So, yeah, we're going to do that, okay? So, we're having another 30-day challenge coming up. It's going to start on Monday. It's going to be day 0. We're going to do this. It's going to be more of a writing challenge. We're still going to have artwork involved. In fact, you get your Post-it notes. These are, I got these bad boys right here. They're not just Post-it notes. These are 3x5 note cards, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to draw, one thing on them a day, okay, to spur our creativity and to get us in the mode of thinking about our imagination, to be able to get in the right frame of mind to write. That's what we're going to do, okay? And then at the end, you're going to have 30 of these bad boys, okay? 30 ideas, right? And if you want to use Post-it notes, use the Post-it notes, put them all up back here. I got little magnets. I got little neodymium magnets, if you can see that right there. Boom. These are hardcore motherfuckers, right? All the way. Yeah. Stick right there. That's a metal board, whatever. I got it all worked out. I put all that together. I put it all together, bro. Get off. Get off, bro. Get off. Okay, I did all that. All right. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna have a good time. Make sure you get your 2 sketchbooks. All right. Well, they're not sketchbooks. They're notebooks. All right. So this notebook is for your refined ideas, and this is for just ideas that you have during the day or in the middle of the night. Right. Hell, maybe you're having a good old dream and you wake up and you go, I gotta write those ideas down. I want to write about that, right? Maybe you're at a restaurant and you're like, oh, I had a good idea. I gotta write that down, right? Maybe you're at the strip club doing a line or something. You're like, oh, I gotta write that down. This is great. This is a great environment. Maybe you're in the middle of having sex and you get a great idea. You say, babe, roll over. I gotta write this down real quick. Okay, get off, sir, for a second. That's how we do it around here. That's how we do it, okay? So, get your 2 sketchbooks. One for, it's like a water container. You pour your glass of water that you're going to drink from, and then you pour that water into a bigger container that you're going to save for later and you're going to use later. So that's how you got to think about your creativity, people. And I see we got Tank out there. What's up, Tank? Good to see you, buddy. And, it's about channeling those ideas. When you want to be a creative person, I know that initially everybody thinks that you want to have all these thoughts, right? You want to be like a storage receptacle for these thoughts. But you don't want to be that way. It's more of a dance, okay? Being creative is more like a dance. You go in, you go out, there's ebbs, there's flows. You want to be a conduit that allows the electricity to pass through you, and you're not going to hold on to every idea. You're going to let some of them go. As they come in, you're going to let some of them go, and then you're going to slowly refine what your filter is and what you're choosing to grab a hold of. Okay, so you have to have that ability to have those volume of thoughts go through your mind, and trust me, This is the part that's magic, right? This is the magical part of being creative, right? The magical part of being creative is that you're not in control of it. You have to trust, right? You have to trust and believe that when you need the ideas, they will come and they will be there. Okay, they will come to you, and sometimes you're not even looking for them, and they hit you right away. And I remember we talked about that in the Ryan Harkness video. Now that I got my new setup right here, we're gonna go ahead and get him back on. We're gonna chimichaw, chew the fat, chew the cud as it was, gonna chew it like a cow, and discuss some of this kind of stuff in order how to really create a perpetual energy machine within yourself, and then increase the quality of the thought process that goes through you, okay? So that you can elevate the product that goes out and the impact upon the other people that are around you, all right? And then all of a sudden people are like, holy shit, who's that motherfucker? He's got some gravitas, you know what I'm saying? When he comes into the room, he's electrical, or she's electrical, and she just radiates, And that's what that's all about. That's what that's all about. Okay, so we're going to continue to do that. We're going to, next 30-day challenge, we're going to do writing. Come on, join in on it. Have a good time. We're probably going to have a challenge too, or a competition or something like that. And then in the Discord, so join the Discord if you want to participate. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we'll do some prizes, okay? We'll do some prizes, and I won't do it. We'll have everybody vote on it, right? We'll have everybody vote. I'm not gonna be the person that says, "Oh, you're good," but we're gonna have everybody, vote on it, and then whoever wins or whatever we figure out how to do, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a little bit of prizes, okay? So that'll be fun, right? And it'll mean something, okay? And then I was even thinking, I don't know how doable this is, but maybe we can create a pipeline that we can then take your story and then try to publish it or something like that. People who are really excited about their story, or maybe we could find an artist, if it's going to be a graphic novel or something like that, to try to help pair that up. I got all these wheels turning. How do we channel this imagination, all of this powerful creativity that we have in our group? How do we channel it forward and start to create an impact, where people are going to be like, oh, I want to see that. I want to see that. And that's exciting. That's what you want. I know that people in the comic book world are all excited because a comic called Skin Breakers came out, and it has that artist. He's like really good. I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden. Right when I need to say what his name is, I blank on it. We got Retro Nick out there. What's up, Retro Nick? Just throwing you a shout out, dog. Retro Nick has a great retro games channel if you guys want to follow that. It's fantastic. But we're going to get him on too here pretty soon. But what was that guy's name that's doing Skin Breakers? He was David Finch. I think that's who it is. Yeah, he's a fantastic comic artist. Everybody's really excited about that, right? So when you have a creation that everybody's really excited about, everybody lines up for it, okay? So the problem then becomes, okay, how do you get a reputation like that? How do you get noticed? How do we help other people get noticed? And that's what we're gonna be a part. We're gonna do that. We're gonna be a part of that. We're gonna, I don't know exactly how we're gonna do it. I don't have the idea. I just have the broad outlines for what we're going to do and what I want to do in order to help facilitate the creativity within our group in all kinds of genres, okay? And I think that's what we're really all about. That's what I'm all about anyway, and I think that's what you guys are all about. And it's exciting to be that way, okay? It's exciting to be an adventurer and wake up in the morning excited to start your day because you're like, okay, great, I'm going to have a live, I'm going to chit-chat with the people, and then I got to go ahead and I got to knock out, I'm working on this cover right here, I got to knock out this cover for somebody, this big old cover, you know what I mean? So I got to knock that out, and then, I got some other stuff I got working on. I got to hurry up and ink this up, and I got to color that, I got to get all that going. And I got all kinds of other projects that I'm putting together. And I'm trying to get together my own stories, because I've written a lot of stories, and I'm doing that Kitty City story right now. And I'm going to use this next 30-day challenge to help me produce that Kitty City story on a regular Friday basis. So I'm gonna draw during the week, right, and then I'm gonna collect them, and I'm gonna put it into my Clip Studio Paint Pro program that, you know, I had to learn how to use. More school, people, can you believe that? And then I have to go ahead and put it into a web cartoon format or something like that, and then I gotta upload it and figure out exactly where I'm gonna upload it, because I think I got a good idea though. If anybody has any ideas, throw them at me of where I can upload a good webtoon or whatever that people would like to go and see and isn't too much of a hassle to view. Otherwise, I'll just do it on my website, but you know, I'm redoing that right now too, and that's kind of a learning curve. So I got all these things, right, that I'm trying to juggle, and having a good time doing it. It's quite the adventure, and that's what life's all about. Okay, yeah. Hey, Tank, yeah, that's a little bit of a maniac action right there. Yeah, we got that going on, and knocking something out for our boy Johnny motherfucking Rocket, Johnny Rocket. And we had Johnny Rocket on. He's a really fun author, a really good writer, and if you haven't seen that, go watch that. We'll have him on again now that I got the new setup, and it's not all like robot, you know what I mean? And had that old software going and had all the wrong settings. I didn't know what I was doing, bro. I'm a newbie, greeny. You know, it's like, you know, gotta get those numbers up, baby. So that's what we're doing around here, okay? So we get that going, all right? And I just finished something for Riley, so I'm excited. I don't know if he's released it yet. Otherwise, I'd show it off, but I haven't. I don't know if he's put it out there yet. So we're always supporting those guys too. And I got a lot of things working for them, and I got some other irons in the fire. Then I'm trying to figure out, you know, I'm working on the new sticker pack, right? And I want it to be better than the last one, of course. And I'm thinking I'm going to have some Park Slopper stickers, you know, a sticker pad of the Park Sloppers. And I think I'm even going to put Royce and Marie on there. And I think that's going to be hilarious, right? And, you know, if you don't know them, they're on the ROTC. Love those guys. Love watching that show. And, you know, the Kitty City's based upon Mersh from Nightwave. He's the main character. Now, it's not really him. He's just kind of like, you know, I'm watching these shows or whatever, right? And I like these people, and I say, okay, well, I like how he behaves, how he talks. I could totally see him in the story. So then what I do is I strip out the components of his character that I like, and I go ahead and I whip up really quick, you know, a character based upon him that I'm going to put in my story, and then I put it in the story. Okay, so he's the vehicle for the story. I know people might say, oh, well, how come you're making a story about Mersh? Well, it's kind of it's influenced or inspired by Mersh. Let's put it that way. You know, a curmudgeon who doesn't want to be a hero, who's only you know, interested in putting the pieces of his life back together. Okay, and so that's what that story is going to be all about. And I'm really excited because it's already written. The story's already out there. It's already written. I'm just going to be breaking it down and putting it into the comic form and all of that kind of stuff. And I'll probably stream some of that, and I might find a different outlet to stream it on. And so if people want to come by and check in or whatever, you know, they can do that. And, you know, you could just shoot the shit or whatever, have a good time while we're making artwork. You know what I'm saying, people? So that's kind of fun. I like doing that, you know. And I got a number of other stories that I'm working on too, and they're in different processes and different phases of the process. And that's why having the notebooks is so important, right? Because when I went to school, I became an engineer and electrical computer engineer, and you know, we worked on context switching, this concept called context switching, right? And it's where, you know, you have a process, you know, going through your microprocessor or your microcontroller or your processor, and it's all humming through there, chewing up the work, getting it going, and then you have this thing called a stack, which is basically a little array that keeps the pointers of what duties to do next and when, okay? And so when you switch processes in your processor, you have to use that stack in order to know what to load next, what to do, and what work to perform, right? So you want the process, what I'm trying to communicate here is you want the process to completely control the data that you're pumping through. And what that means is when you're working on something and it's time to work on something else, you can just go ahead and put all that stuff down into your notebook or whatever like this, and then you can completely forget about it and go work on your new thing, okay? And then when you come back to it, it has all the information ready for you to like start up right again where you left off without you having to remember, or what was that character doing, or what was that idea that I have, or where was I going with my story, or where am I going with my conversation? What am I even talking about here? What am I doing? And then as soon as you have those emotions, you know what's coming next is, oh man, I really suck at this. I guess I'm not a writer. I guess I'm not an artist. I guess all I'm good for is, getting kicked by the cat and crying and all this kind of bullshit. And that's not how it is at all. The fact is that you haven't constructed the process to manage itself, okay? And then your mind can only do one thing. Your mind's the processor. It can only do one thing, and so you short circuit yourself. That's what happens. That's what happens. So all of that means is you have to create a better process that has integrated process management within the process itself. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of an abstract idea to manage abstract ideas. You got me? And then once you do that, you're just the conduit and the process guides you. And then it's freeing because you don't have to use your brain power to try to manage the process. And it's fucking crazy. You don't want to do that. Okay? You don't like to do that at all. It's lame. All right? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to, this will be the first time that we have done something non-art, drawing, visually related. And so it'll be another way for you to see the same creative process, just with in a different context, with different clothing, with different variables. And so you kind of get the idea. Because the creative process is the same in everything. Okay? That's what's wild. You know how they say there's many paths to one wisdom? Well, that's what this is. Many paths to one wisdom. Okay? It's the same for cooking. It's the same for all these different things. And you'll learn to integrate it into your behavior so that every time you attack something, you will have, especially upon the initial time you go through the process, a high yield of quality. Okay? Because you've refined the process of creativity in every other area, and you lean upon those other areas that you refined it to go into the next discipline, and you carry that with you. Okay, so it's not like you're exactly going into it blind. You're going into it with a high level of accomplishment. Just you have to change the variables, much like I'm doing with this OBS crap and all this kind of stuff. As soon as I learned what the key words were, and Professor Grass was the one who told me about it, I appreciate it. I was able to figure out exactly what I need to do and how to plug the things in and all that kind of stuff, and get her going. And that's what we're doing here, okay? So next week, I'm going to further push this OBS live process even further, and hopefully have transitions, have the live chat like right here maybe. And then I got a widget to pull up little individual chats that we can talk about, because I really like how EVS does it when he pulls up the chat and then has a conversation with that specific chat. And I know Osmongold does that, but I'm not running it on Twitch, so I'm not doing what he does on like how he does his chat logs on Twitch and all that kind of stuff. But I'd love to do that because I want it to be more interactive. I want to have basically a good give and take from the audience. So that, I'm not just up here babbling about some bullshit that people are like, bro, we've already heard you 5 times. We don't care. Move on. I don't know about you guys, but within the last couple years, I've really become a video aficionado as far as what I watch, right? If I turn on a video and it doesn't grab me like in the first 5 sentences, I'm like, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that, until I find something where the guy goes, here we go, let's go, And, even like those long intros, like I can't stand a long intro anymore. I'm like, dude, just get into the video, man. Just get into the video, And so that's kind of like how I am right now. It's like, let's go. Let's fucking go. And one of my favorite guys, I used to love Spanion. I don't know if you guys ever watched Spanion. He's he travels around the world and goes to different places, and he's Australian. And he has like a really gregarious kind of like affect. He's very charismatic and enthusiastic. And I used to watch a lot of him because he was such good energy in the background when I'm watching, and so he just got right into the video and he's like, bro, let's fucking go, let's go, brother, and he was all about it. So I was like a lot of fun energy while I'm working down here, drawing or whatever, and I got that He's on the big screen. I got a big screen TV up here, right over here, and he's got pumping me with all this fun energy, and I'm like, oh shit, I want to go there. Oh shit, I want to go there. You know what I mean? So that's what we want. We want that excitement. And when you think about storytelling, you know, when you transition that over to storytelling, it's the same way. Okay, it's the same way. And we're going to talk about this. But when you're talking about storytelling, what is it that makes you watch a movie over and over and over again? What is it? And I love to buy DVDs. Okay, I love DVDs because I love how cheap they are now. And I got a couple. I'm sorry, cough. I got a couple DVD players, and you know, if I see a DVD on sale for $3 or $5, whatever, I just go ahead and buy it. And I just got one, and it's one of my favorites. Okay, it's Spy Game with Robert Redford, and of course I got it because he died, right? You know, he died. He was a great actor and all that. And I absolutely love Spy Game. But why do I love Spy Game so much? And why do people love Spy Game so much? It's because it's about, it doesn't have like big special effects. It doesn't have big, huge, you know, set pieces or battle scenes or anything like that. But what it has is it has powerful and nuanced character development. Okay, and that right there is what makes a good story. Okay, and the character development based upon truth that resonates within us as the viewer. Okay, that's what makes a powerful story that we can always go back and learn a little bit more from, or get a little bit of catharsis or emotional satisfaction from. And that's how you want to write your stories. Okay, you want to write your stories from that angle. Okay, you don't want to write your stories, you know, these big superhero stories that are wrapped in all of this special effects and these fight scenes that go on for like 10 minutes and all stuff like that. Now you can. I'm not saying don't do that. But don't let that be the pillar that you rest the quality of your story on, because it's going to fall short. It's going to be terrible. It's going to not be good. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what you want to do. You want to figure out what it is inside of you that, you know, everybody has a different story, a different life. We've all had different struggles, different traumas, different successes, right? So we have a little bit of a different weaving of our character within inside of ourselves. So find what it is that you're excited about and that you're drawn to, okay? And then base your stories upon those themes, okay? Base your characters upon those themes, you know. And that once you start thinking like that, it becomes very clear, and your choices become very obvious. Like I was writing a story, and you know, if you write in one direction for the majority of your story, and you build somebody up, build somebody up, build somebody up, you have to tear them down at the end. You get that, right? Or conversely, if you tear somebody down, tear somebody down, tear somebody down in your story, you have to have them rise to success in the end, because that is the biggest dynamic that you can create within your story. You get what I'm saying? So when you start to tell a story about a character, you're starting to build up this emotional energy based upon the direction that you're pushing that character. And then you have to disperse all of that emotional energy, you know, in your finale, okay? To give it that release, right? It's called the potential emotional versus the kinetic emotional energy, right? That's a physics term that we learned back in physics. You know all about that, right? You know about that. We're all geniuses around here, aren't we? I mean, maybe I'm not, but I know you guys are. But so that's how you're going to write your story, right? And then you're going to go ahead, and for each character, they have a potential energy and then a kinetic energy when it releases, right? And then you have the interplay between the characters and how those energies affect each other. And that's how you write a fucking good story. That's real, that resonates, that fucking kicks some ass, that, you know, that moves somebody based upon your life's experience, your lived experience, right? And that's what it's all about. Okay, that's what we got going on, and that's what this next 30-day challenge is going to be about. So come join our Discord. I know that I've been kind of absent this the past couple of days because I've been trying to figure out how to get all this program stuff going on and do some other stuff like that. But we're going to get her going. We're going to have a good time these next 30 days, and we're going to experience some growth. We're going to challenge each other and experience some growth in a positive environment that's safe, where people can fail if they want to, or be successful if they want to, or do whatever they want to do. Go at your own pace. Don't go at your own pace. Just read from the fringes, participate, That's how we want to do it, okay? We want to leave everybody to their own devices. The reason why I believe that is because as soon as you heal and as soon as you're happy, you become curious. When you become curious, you become creative. When you become creative, you start to want to create product, output stories, output artwork, okay? So somebody that is unable to do that has some healing to do or has some incorrect beliefs to overcome, okay? So you got to let them do it at their own pace, okay? You can't save a heroin addict, right? We've all watched that, right? You know, Intervention, you've watched Intervention, I've watched it. That never works until that person hits rock bottom. Have you guys seen The Wire? I love The Wire, okay? And that character, Bubbles, in The Wire is exactly what I'm talking about. At the end of that movie, Bubbles decides he doesn't want to suck anymore. He wants to recover. He wants to have a new life, okay? And as soon as he decides that, and he has the genuine desire for it, he's unstoppable. And that's what we are. That's a lesson that we should all take. And that character really resonated with me because that's right. If you can channel your genuine desire, you will be unstoppable in the direction that you want to go. Okay? Because every time you get up, you'll be jumping up. You'll be waking up early to rush out there and accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish. If you got to go to work first, you're going to go to work, you're going to be excited, you're going to have your notebook, you're going to be writing down your ideas, and you're going to hurry home, give the wife a kiss on the head, or the girlfriend, or hell, maybe you just got a cat, I don't know. And then you're going to jump right into your writing for 30 minutes or an hour, and you're going to discharge all those great ideas you had during the day. You're going to do that for 4 or 5, 6 days, and then what's going to happen is you're going to have this whole flood of new ideas, and you're going to go, holy shit, I got to scrap all those old ideas, get them all out of here. I got a whole new thing based upon the same characters, okay? And that's how it goes. Because what you've just done, if you were like a lizard and you just shed your skin and you grew and you jumped out of your skin into your new skin, okay? Now, we're not lizard people around here. Don't take it all out of context. It's just a nice little metaphor, a nice little analogy that you can use to visualize what's actually happening. Don't hold on to that old skin like it's something precious. Discard it and grab onto the new skin. You know, you can only hold so many ideas in the palm of your hand, okay? Let go of the old ones to get the new ones, kind of thing, okay? That's how we do it around here. All right, so that's what we're going to do in our next 30-day challenge, okay? So what else we got going on here? We had I had the tree fell. I already told you guys about that. That was crazy. Big old storm last night. Big ass tree fell, knocked over the fence, all that kind of stuff. I got to figure out what I'm going to do about all that. I might have to go buy a chainsaw. I don't even know, right? Never had a chainsaw in my life. Might have to go buy a chainsaw and get to going on it, get to doing it. Who knows, right? But it's one of those things you just jump into and you go after it, right? Now, see, right here is the point where I'll be bringing in them other chat. See what the chat's got to say, okay? Because, damn, I've just been rambling for a good 30, 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Got to take a drink, take a breath, come up for air a little bit. But I want these videos to be jam-packed, you know? If I ain't got nothing to say, I'm going to bounce on out of here, okay? I ain't all for that, you know, flagellation and all that kind of bullshit. If I can get my words out and what I want to say in 10 minutes, it'll be a 10-minute video. If it's going to be an hour, it's because every part of that hour is going to have something to say. You know, FOMO knows what I'm talking about. That's what she wants me to do a drawing with a chainsaw. Now, I could do some sculptures. Some chainsaw sculptures. We could do that, you know, get them big wood chainsaw sculptures, get her going, you know, get one of them big Kodiak bears or whatever. I love all them sculptures, man. I love sculptures to death. In fact, you know, I've got a couple, I do love to collect art, and that's why I collect art books, is that's the cheapest form of art that I can collect is by collecting these other people's art books, right? And I got a whole bunch of them. I'll break them out and show them all to you, and we'll talk about the artist. We'll also talk about the artist that made the biggest difference in my life, and he's the greatest artist that I've ever encountered. But I also wanted to collect sculpture, right? And but I just didn't have the money for it. You know what I mean? I have some friends that are sculptors, and they do bronze and marble and all that stuff, and some of them do wood, but I can't afford them. You know, when I'm going up to them, I say, hey man, I really like this sculpture of this nude or whatever. And I've seen some really cool Western sculptures too. Like there was this one sculpture I really, really wanted bad. It was this huge buffalo. And I'm talking, it was like coffee table size, huge, and it was bronze. And I was in this gallery, and I went to deliver some paintings or whatever, and I saw it and I wanted to get it, but then they told me it was like $9,000 or something like that, and I was just like, oh no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And some of them go up to like 50 grand and all that kind of stuff. So I was thinking, maybe I should get into the sculpting business. But now I would try it with the chainsaw. But you know, one thing I really want to make. So I got this garden out back, right? And I got a whole bunch of palm trees, and I got some apple trees, and I got some of them pomegranate trees, and they're getting pretty big, and they're starting to outgrow the planters that I got them in. And so I was gonna try and buy some of them big ass planters, you know, and the big concrete ones, you know, as you see at the mall or whatever. And I went to go shopping for them. They're like $500 or $600, $700, and I was like, holy shit, you know. And then you got to pay for delivery and all that stuff if you don't pick them up. And I was like, man, I can't do that. So then I started, yes, I did. I started looking into YouTube videos on how to make those things, right? And and that's right. I mean, I might be doing that. I don't know. But I got a whole bunch of these trees that I got to replant into the large planters, and so I might be doing that, getting some of that quickcrete. You know, I already researched it, bro. You get the quickcrete, you get that steel mesh, and you put it in there, and then you get a form and you run it around, and it's big. It's big. These things are like, you know, 400, 500 pounds or whatever, and so I might be doing that. Dude, we got Hillbilly Harry out here. All right, now I'm glad he's here, because he just reminded me. Now, on October 11th and 12th, Jared's going to be having his big competition in Lima, Peru. Okay, so we really want to cheer him on. I wish he had a Twitter so that we could go and leave comments and stuff like that, but he doesn't. So I just throw all my comments at Hillbilly Harry. Say, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And let him communicate them on to Jared. And I imagine Jared's got to stay pretty much in the zone, you know what I mean? Because he's at that, bro, at that world elite, you know, level. There's the margin for error is slim, right? He's like 65th in the world last time I checked. So we got to really cheer him on, because I would love for him to make the Olympics in 2028 down here in LA, and we all bandwagon down and kick some ass down there at the Olympics and cheer Jared on when he's at the judo matches. And I've already looked up where the judo match is going to be. They said it's going to be on Venice Beach. I don't know where the hell they're going to do that, because right now there ain't no you know, infrastructure or buildings down there to have judo matches. I can't imagine they're going to have them on the beach itself, on the sand. That'd be retarded, right? So I bet they're going to build some big fancy thing that's then going to fall apart about a month later. But we're going to go ahead and make that happen too. All right, we got Huck. I see you out there. We got Kier out there in the audience. Big shout out to you, bro. Hope your kid's doing good. Hope he's out there kicking ass. And if you guys don't know about Huck, he just won his fourth national championship. I think he's 11 years old now. His fourth national championship, or fifth, could be fifth, in the BMX biking for his age group. That's pretty fucking tremendous. Okay, so I know he's on Twitter. Go follow him. He does the backflips and the corkscrews and all that. Bro, it's so exciting to be around these creative people. Okay, so exciting. We got, you know, very inspiring to have Huck going after his dreams of being a pro BMXer. Very inspiring to have Jared going after his dreams to be a judo Olympiad. And I just feel blessed to be able to be a part of it in some measure, to be able to watch it, you know, from a distance, you know. And that's the kind of people that we want to resonate with and have around us. These people who are like, say, you know, fuck it, I'm going after it, man. I'm gonna do the training. I'm gonna make it happen. And so that's what we're going to do on this next 30-day challenge. We're going to say, fuck it. We're going to go ahead and take the pain in our life, and we're going to do this writing thing. We're going to have a good time with that, okay? So we're going to make that happen, all right? So that's what we're going to have with the 30-day challenge, okay? Now, I think what I was going to tell you guys about, I think I was going to finish up on some of my Hollywood stories. And I know that was a pretty long intro. We're already running 11:54 over here at PST. I always like to put that PST in there, because I see people throwing out times all the, you know, on all this stuff all the time. Like, where the hell are you? Are you in Germany? Are you in South Africa? Where are you at? You know? And so I always try to put that PST out there so people know what the hell is going on. All right. So I think where I left off last time was I had just done that reality show, right? And that reality show in LA that I did was such a learning experience from a TV production standpoint, and watching, all of these guys running around. And if you remember, I was in a big I was in a big mansion and in LA, and they had cameras in every room, kind of like the whole Big Brother thing. They had cameramen running around behind each person, and every cameraman has like, one of those big ass $100,000 cameras on his body, and it's connected to this gimbal that connects around his waist, so it holds it, and he's running around like this, and the camera's bouncing up here, as he's running around and all that stuff. And then behind him you have you have two other people, an audio person running around with him with a boom mic, with his little audio pack down here on his fanny pack. And then you have a PA running around with him to do whatever they need them to do, So, you think about that. If you have like 12 people, you're going to have 12 cameras that they're going to be filming. So then 12 cameras means 3 people per camera. You're talking about 36 people just for the camera stuff alone, not to mention that you have like directors and assistant directors and grips and everybody running around, and you have editors. You have all this shit running through the wires down to another house where they're, probably have a whole array of TVs that they're streaming all this stuff through and trying to edit it as they go along and all that kind of stuff. Bro, it's a hairy ordeal. Plus they have like, all the catering and everything like that. It was the biggest, Hollywood thing that I was ever a part of or in on or whatever. But it was a lot of damn work, and for like kind of no payoff. And the only payoff was the experience and the learning of what I learned to do. And of course, after the show, I didn't win the show, and they had it all orchestrated who they wanted to win the show. Then it turned out the guy that they wanted to win the show was a big asshole, and so they ended up last minute changing it, having some girl win the show. And she's a nice enough person, and but she was very quiet the entire time, and I think that's why they picked her. And when the other guy kind of fell through, I don't know, I guess it was bad optics or bad PR or something like that, and it all fell through. And so it was going to air on ABC. And then I remember I also flew out and I did the Tyra Banks show a couple of times and met Tyra. And boy, she was cold as a cucumber. Okay, she was a frosty bitch. That's what I got to say about that. She was cold. Okay, and whenever the camera turned on, she turned on, and when it turned off, she went back to Ice Cube. Okay, Ice Cube level person, right? And you could probably find me on them Tyra Banks shows, my clips or whatever like that. And nobody told me anything. I just kind of went into all this blind, and everything I went into blind, and I tried to understand what they wanted from me, and I tried to make the most out of it, and to try to perform or give it or whatever. But I was sitting blind. They didn't tell me nothing ever. I didn't have like somebody out there saying, okay, here's what's going to happen. Not even tell me what was going to happen on the show. I remember she had me like paint her something or something, and I didn't even know I was going to do that. I was wearing nice clothes, and then they like said, okay, can you paint this during the live segment or something like that? And I was just like, what? So I did that, and it was super weird. I ended up just doing it with my hands, like like finger paint, except it was like this big canvas, right? And I was using my whole hand to paint something, and I painted something, I forget what it was, but but she did ask me one question that was really strange, and like I think I know what it means now. She asked me if I was a wolf, and I think that was code for something, And because her and Ashton Kutcher produced the show, and we all know their backgrounds in the secret societies and whatnot, and so I think that was like she was asking me questions to see if I was too or whatever. I don't know, but that was creepy, And pretty much everybody on that show was some sort of emotional failure. I don't know. They were all just very interesting people and very strange people, and it was a very strange experience. And it was a good experience, and I learned a lot, like I said. And then I came back, and they aired the show on ABC, but they didn't really promote it. So I think they like produced the show, they were going to promote it, and then they decided that they didn't want to promote it, but they were still going to air the show. And I think they moved on to other projects that they wanted to promote or something like that. Kind of like how, if you guys are familiar with John Carter from Mars, Disney made that movie. They put $250 million into that movie to make the movie. And then right when the movie was being made, they bought the rights to Marvel. Okay, so they were going to do the Marvel universe. So then what they did when they released the movies, they kind of scuttled it. They didn't promote it at all and let it just fade away and like wrote it off as a bad debt. And then they went ahead and invested in what they thought was going to be their next 10 to 15 year moneymaker, which was the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they're right, it made them a ton of money. But it was a shame because John Carter was a fantastic movie and I absolutely loved it. And I would have loved to seen them make a couple more. And I love that actor that was in it. You know, and that makes me think of the new thing that he's in, that new Terminal List, #2. Grey Wolf or something like that. An absolute dog shit show. Waste of an actor on that show. Very sad to see that. It got Chris Pratt in it too. He's like the executive producer. And the first show was great. This show sucks, bro. This show completely sucks. They completely fucked it up. But whatever. What are you gonna do about that? You're gonna hate watch it. That's what I do. You go hate, hate, hate. And that's a patented Ray hate, hate, hate. I'm just kidding. That's patented ROTC. No, I'm just kidding. That's a patented Adonis Paul. Yeah, that's what it is. It's Adonis Paul. Okay, we all love Adonis Paul around here too. So it's a hate, hate, hate. Bro, we got Tony from There Goes the Neighborhood. Shout out to you, bro, out there. Good to see you. What's up, Tony? Good to have you here. But anyway, so then I was out in Hollywood. I did my whole thing, right? And then I come back. The show airs. I come back. I have my agent, Monica, who's an absolute sweetheart. And she's like, okay, Ray, bro, this is your end, bro. You got to like get up there to Hollywood. And at that time, I lived in San Diego. You got to get up to Hollywood. You got to make this happen. You know, the world's your oyster. It's opening before you, blah, 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 all that good stuff. So I was like, oh, really? 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 And of course, at that time, all I wanted to be was an artist. You know, I just wanted to be a landscape painter and a portrait painter. And that's basically what I had, you know, got my life up to do. And before that, I was an engineer. And I had a horrible car crash in the middle of the Costa Rican jungle, bro. I was on a surf trip down in Costa Rica, okay? And surfing my brains out. It was me and my brother. And we were down there going all over the place, right? In Costa Rica. All the way down from all the way to Manuel, San Antonio. We saw stick bugs and Jesus lizards running across the water. I seen them Jesus lizards run across the water. And then all the way up to Witch's Rock and Tamarindo and all that kind of stuff. I had a great time. All the way out on Malpais. And I got in a bad car wreck. And it really changed my fate. And I decided to not be an engineer anymore and become an artist, which is what I wanted to do initially when I was getting out of high school, going to college. But I didn't want to be poor. Turns out, if you want to be an artist, you got to be poor. I didn't know that. So, you know, I'd grown up poor. I didn't like being poor, so I chose not to be poor, and therefore the engineering. But then I always had this idea that I'd go to engineering school, right? And then I would get the money together to pay for art school. And I was like, motherfucker, you're paying for engineering school, just pay for art school, right? So anyway, that was my kooky concocted plan about how to be successful as an adult artist and bypass the poor phase. But you can't bypass the poor phase, right? You know, and honestly, I think it's very important to be poor at some point in your life, or to struggle financially, because it teaches you so much about a lot of things. And you know, when we look to an artist, right? Don't we want an artist to know more than we know? Don't we want an artist to be that person who's who looks danger in the face and goes out fearlessly because they know something more that we don't know, right? They've endured more pain, or they've come up with a way that they can endure this pain in a way that we haven't yet discovered. And maybe they're more spiritual, or they're more something else, or they're more, you know, I don't know, more evolved as a being than we are, right? And if that's the case, the only way to get there is to suffer or to struggle, right? Now, of course, we all want to struggle. You want everything you suffer to be a struggle so that you yield a profit or a product from it. Okay, we want that all to be that way. All right, so that's what we want our artists to know more than us, and to kind of be a leader on our side, you know, to speak and edify us with their words and with their wisdom, and say, no, you can go forward and walk through that flame. You'll be okay. You might burn a little bit, but it'll be worth it, because on the other end you're going to fly. Okay, and that's what we want our artists to be like. And so I think it's important to understand that as an artist, right? And as soon as you understand it and you learn that, bro, get the fuck on and make some money. You know what I mean? Make some money, okay? Because then you can help other people, and you can you know, have a better lifestyle for yourself, and then you can increase the volume of your production. And that's what it's really all about. So that was my cockamamie idea about how to avoid that, but I couldn't avoid it. So then I had that car wreck, and so then I destroyed my femur, bro. I pulverized this much of my femur, okay? It was like 6 inches or 7 inches of my femur that I fucking smashed and turned into gravel, okay? And I have a nightmare story about that, but I'll tell you about that later. So anyway, so I'm going through Hollywood, right? And I'm doing this so that I can earn a little bit of extra money, because I'm at this point I'm a poor artist, right? And so I did this show, and I'm thinking maybe some other opportunities open up, because, you know, you do some of these. People were saying, you know, you do some of these commercials, you know, for 30 seconds or 45 seconds, and if it's a national commercial, you can make 6 figures off that. So I was thinking, well, that'd be awesome if I could pop in, do a commercial, and make 6 figures. That'd be fucking rad. You know what I mean? And so then Monica sets me up with all of these, like, you know, go to this, you know, session, 3 or 4 day session on how to audition for commercials, and sets me up with an acting coach and all this kind of stuff. And so I go and I do that, right? And of course you got to pay for it. And of course, as a, you know, poor artist, you know, I mean, like, you know, that wasn't cheap. It was like each one of these boot camps or whatever you want to call them was like $400 to $600 or whatever. And so I'm just like, okay, at first I'm like, okay, I'm willing to try it. If Monica says do it, let's do it. You know, she's never steered me wrong, and she's got me, you know, other campaigns where I made, you know, 3 or 4 grand a day or 5 grand a day just doing a photo shoot. You know, I show up, and, you know, they treat me like royalty, and they give me food, and at the end they just give me 4 grand, wire it to Monica, and then Monica gives it to me. And you know, so it's a really good relationship. And so I'm trusting her, so I go and I do this kind of stuff, and I go through it, and I quickly realize that this is just a hustle right here. This is a hustle. And like I told you before, I went to these casting directors boot camps, or, you know, I got an acting coach, and we did the weekly thing for a while, and it was more cathartic for me in understanding how to channel my energy, my emotional energy, and how to affect change and not in my emotions, and how to treat your emotions like a color palette, and change the colors with your intention. Okay, and that, so my emotional plumbing, I got set straight during that time. It was a little bit like an emotional gym for me, and which is what I really took away from it, which was the biggest payoff for me. And so then I start going to these auditions, right? And I get some pretty big auditions, and you know, and they all say, oh yeah, we like you. You go into a little room, and it's in front of like 3 or 4 people sitting at a table, and they're sitting there with their pen and their paper, and they're like, okay, do it, and then you're doing it, right? And then if you do it well, they might say, okay, well, go out and come back in. I want you to do a different scene, and so you have to like memorize it or whatever right then and there, and then do that emotion, right? And at that time, I was too eager to try to fit into whatever they wanted, and I didn't understand that what they really wanted was somebody who was going to take creative choices and kind of like, you know, blaze a trail that they can then follow behind and film, right? I didn't really get that. And so I was trying too hard to give them, so I was trying to perceive what they wanted and give it to them, and it didn't work out. But they would always invite me to all these, like, hey, we're having a, you know, shindig later. Come on by. We're gonna do it. You know, all these casting directors and stuff. So you're like, wow, he works with this place, works with that place. You know, contracts with MGM, blah blah blah. But I never did that. You know, I always just went home, like, because I said I was surfing. And of course, then I got invited to like I met some famous people, all kinds of famous people, and I got invited to their mansion parties, and I'd go out to their mansion parties, and the mansion party started off, like any other, right? It's a backyard party. It was palatial, it was beautiful, big, huge pools, whatever liquor you wanted, they had it, right? It was just like everywhere. And of course, anything else you wanted, they had little bowls of those things, little party favors, as they called them. And you could go out and do whatever you wanted and jump in the pool or grab something to eat or whatever. And they were very like cavalier about everything, even about their own belongings, which, I was like, well, you're having all these people in your nice house and they're going to treat it like shit, like it was a fraternity house kind of thing. And I was kind of like, that's kind of odd, And then the real party was the after party, though, and I never really wanted to participate in the after parties because, so somebody told me nothing good ever happens after midnight, and if you're still around at 2, you're really in trouble because that's when the devil comes around. And, so I never participated in any of that kind of stuff. But I did go to some of the mansion parties during the day, and it would be an all-day affair and have a good time and met a whole bunch of famous people and different people on different shows. And one of the people that I really liked that I met was Neil McDonough. And you guys might know Neil McDonough. He was on Justified. He has white hair and blue eyes. And he's been in a lot of other things too. And he would tell us stories when he was on he did a Clint Eastwood movie and how they rented an entire battleship for him. They rented it for 2 days, an entire battleship, bro. An entire battleship with all the people on it, with the crew, with everybody, and with the big, huge guns. And he was in that, I don't know, World War II movie with that, I forget which one it was called, but with these huge-ass guns. And they rented it they had it rented for different things, but they rented it for him, specifically for 2 days. For him. Just for him. And they rented it because he had a monologue to deliver. And the monologue was maybe 15 minutes or 10 minutes long. And they all got on the ship and they cruised out to the ocean where you can't see any land, and then they moved the big guns around, and then he's got Clint Eastwood. He's telling this story. He got Clint Eastwood sitting right there, and then all the other people watching him, and he's sitting there thinking, how much money is invested right now on if I get this monologue right? And so he just chucked that outside of his mind and then delivered his monologue. And Clint Eastwood said, "We got it," and that was it. That was it. 15 minutes. They sailed all the way out to the middle of the ocean. Well, I mean, I'm sure it was only like 5 miles out there on this big Navy battleship with the big guns, the destroyer, the big guns. He delivers this monologue. He said it was the most pressure scene he'd ever done because of the weight of the amount of people and budget and money that was on the line right there. And I was just like, wow, that's incredible. So I had drinks with him for maybe 2.5 hours, just me and him, and there was one of my friends, a girl that was there, and the acting coach was there, and just us four, and we had a conversation about all kinds of things Hollywood, right? And that's when I really got the lay of the land of what Hollywood was all about, and he was kind of the one that told me what was what, and he said a lot of things, where you had to kind of read between the lines, and he's the guy that he refuses to kiss any other woman on screen but his wife. Okay, that's the guy I'm talking about right now. Okay, and so he's the guy that told me. He said he could have been, because we were asking him, hey, because we're all retarded, right? We don't know how Hollywood works at that time. We're like, bro, you're such a good actor, How come you're not on, you just did this thing with Clint Eastwood and you did Justified. How come you're not on this and that? Or how come, you're not bigger? You should be in you're great. And he told me, he said he was happy with the position in Hollywood that he had. He didn't want to do any more. He didn't want to do what it took to go any higher than where he was. He said he loved his family, and that was the most important thing to him. And as long as he had enough money to provide for his family, he didn't want a penny more. And that's what he said. And I was like, holy shit, this guy's based. This guy's based, bro. And, he's met all kinds of, A-list stars, right? And, like Mel Gibson, I think might have been in that movie. I can't remember. And all kinds of people, right? Walter Goggins, of course, because he was on Raylan, you know? He was on Justified, right? And old Walter, he's everywhere. I don't know what's going on with my voice. Got that talky talk. But anyway, he was incredible. He's the real deal. And if people ever ask me, you know, hey, who have you met that was awesome? You know, they say don't meet your heroes. I met that guy. That guy was awesome. He checked out. He was one of the few guys that I met that I was like, this guy's awesome. This guy knows what it's all about. He said, you know, in order to go higher, you got to do specific things that you might not agree with. You got to be in scenarios you might not agree with. And then, you know, you pair that with what Terrence Howard said on some of his recent interviews, and how he didn't want to kiss a man, he didn't want to do any of this gay stuff, and so he was basically blackballed. And that's how it goes. That's how Hollywood works. And so after I realized all that, I was, you know, I definitely let the Hollywood concept go. And it's a lot like a slot machine. You know, when you're sitting there playing the slot machine, the thing that keeps you on the slot machine is you keep thinking, oh, the next pull is going to be a win. The next pull is going to be a win. The next pull is going to be a win. But once you realize that the slot machine only pays out like one every 5,000 pulls, you can walk away from it because you know that it ain't going to be you. And once I knew that Hollywood was like that, I knew it wasn't going to be me, so it really wasn't an opportunity. You know, it really wasn't an opportunity where I could get a nice payday and then work on my art for the rest of the year. You know, do maybe a month's worth of work, you know, on screen, and then work in my art studio for the rest of the year. It wasn't going to be like that. And then also I started to learn this concept of the alchemical process, about how you are put through things that changes you internally that you can't get back. You know what I mean by that? And that's pretty heavy, okay? There's a lot of things you can recover from, but there's some things that you can't get back. You know, and that's a tough lesson to learn, okay? Especially out here when you're trying to be a happy-go-lucky, charismatic person, and you think that you're going to live and you're going to succeed or fail based upon your performance. And that ain't it at all. It ain't about your performance at all. It's way more hinky than that. It's about who's pulling the strings above you. And if you ain't got nobody pulling the strings for you, then you're out of luck. And they circle the wagons and you can't get in. And all that money is just like one of those mirages that's leading you deeper into the desert. You know what I mean? So that's the case with that, okay? So then I learned that, and then I left Hollywood behind, you know. I still got a few contacts, a few friends up there that I can, you know, chit-chat with or say something to occasionally or whatever, or text with or whatever, or they'll text me every once in a while, some famous people, you know. But for the most part, I kind of ejected myself from that experience and from that situation. One of the people that I knew the best, though, he ended up being taken under the wing by a man, a decently powerful, not very, but decently powerful man, and he ended up, this guy ended up divorcing his wife, moving out to LA, moving in with this older man, and then they developed a relationship. Okay, this guy used to be straight. They developed a relationship, and that's how this guy ended up getting his roles. And so I was like, wow, ain't that some shit? I ain't about that at all. Nah, I ain't into that. And so that wasn't gonna be what I was gonna do. And so yeah, I was like, noped out on that one. And then I just went back to San Diego and just really focused on my art career after that. And that was the extent of my my Hollywood experience. And like I said, I still have a decent amount of people out there that I know and contacts that I have. And but you know, once your shared connection is gone, you know, once you guys don't have that same dream or that same passion anymore, the relationship kind of falls apart. And that's something that I learned quickly. And definitely everybody in LA is, you know, how they say that women are hypergamous. LA people are definitely ladder climbing, hypergamous people, men and women, bro, men and women. And a lot of the men are the most pussiest men I've ever met in my life, dog. The weakest motherfuckers I've ever met. And a lot of the women are the coldest, hardest women, cruel women that I've ever met in my life too. And so yeah, it's a rough go out there. And I'm glad that my life went a different direction. So I'm happy about that. Okay. Now I'm about to come back in here and check the chat, see what you guys are talking about. We still got Professor Grass out here. Hell yeah, dude. He says he wants to pay off his debts with his greenie. Bro, that's a great idea, okay? And, you know, that's one of the things I love about Professor Grass, bro, is he's out here doing it, man. He's out figuring out how to do these things, and he's being creative for himself and his family, and he's going to make it work for him. And I'm pumped about it, and I'm excited to help support him in the areas that I can support him. And we got Mr. Jeeky out here, says he loves the characters. We got James, my bro. He says something about the birds, and I think the birds are the women. Okay, he's always talking about the women, and we're gonna get James on here pretty soon. Okay, and we're gonna have him talk. And now that I get the new setup that I can do that, and I want to get everybody out here. You know, I want to get Grass on here. I want to get everybody out here, and we're gonna have real conversations about fun stuff. Okay, and I remember when I was a kid, I used to get around the adults, and I used to love it when I would hear some of their conversations because it was like they were talking about the mechanics of life. You know, and I'm sitting there drinking it all in, you know. Or if you get around a really knowledgeable person and they just fucking drop that knowledge, like boom, 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 and your mind's blown after the second boom. But it keeps going and you're just trying to soak it in. I remember that's kind of how I was when Cat Williams was talking, or like when Corey Holcomb, he went on a Cam Newton show and he fucking blew Cam Newton's mind, bro. Made him look like a little toddler. Okay, I love that kind of stuff, man. And you can be funny, you can be real, and you can still say that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to be like. You know, I want to be real with people, have real relationships. And if people don't want to have real relationships, that's fine. We can just be co-workers, or what do they call it? They could just be I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? Where you acquaintances. You can be acquaintances. No big deal. We can be cordial. You know, I long ago developed the understanding that you have to have two forms of communication in social situations, right? You got to have, you know, the margarita talk or the champagne talk or whatever you want to call it. And then you got to have the real talk, okay? And you talk, you know, happy hour talk or whatever. We were just shooting the breeze, just the small talk, until people start to broach that boundary and they want to have real talk. Don't talk real with people until they go past that, okay? Don't talk real with people until they display a desire to go there. Because I've had many conversations blow up in my face because I was like, oh yeah, you know, how are the Dodgers doing? That's great, but did you hear about the human trafficking? You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah. Yeah, how's the football team going this year? How's that going? Are they going to make it to the playoffs? Oh, you know, did you hear that Charlie Kirk's not really dead? They had a whole blood pack and everything, you know, and then boom, it just blows up. Did you hear about the secret societies? You want to talk about that some more? And they ain't ready to talk about that. Either that or they're involved in it or whatever. But anyway, you got to have your cocktail talk. Then you got to have your real deal talk, okay? And keep them separated. And deploy the cocktail talk all the time until somebody shows or proves to you that they want to graduate to real deal talk, okay? And after I started doing that, you know, my social interactions went a lot better, and any kind of anxiety that I had around social interactions just disappeared. Just disappeared because I just cocktail talk, okay? So that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah, colleagues, acquaintances. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Thanks, Nick. Trying to help me out there. You know, it's so funny because like you're talking and I'm sitting here trying to line up the next words I'm going to say 2 or 3 sentences ahead, and then I have them coming down the chute out my mouth, and then I forgot to put a word in there, and I'm like, what was I saying? What was that? You know, and then I can't find the word because I'm already thinking about something else. But it's just a interesting dynamic with this whole live streaming thing, but I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a way fun, right? And I kind of look at this whole streaming stuff and the social media stuff like it's some sort of like video game. This is my version of a video game, right? And I'm trying to put my artwork out there. I'm trying to talk to people. I'm trying to find like-minded people, and that's my mission. And you guys are my like-minded people. So You know, I got a couple more Hollywood stories, but we're already going pretty long. I think we're at an hour and a half maybe right now. So we're probably going to go ahead and wrap it up. And when I'm going to work on this next week for the next live, I'm going to have that chat going right here. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and pull up the chat right here, the individual things we want to talk about right here. And then I might even have a share screen, or, you know, we might even get James or somebody, or Professor Grass or somebody to pop in. You know, we'll have a little bit of a chit chat. But no wasted time, mind you. It's going to be all good stuff. Like I said, I cannot stand wasting people's time because I hate my time wasted. So it's either got to have some sort of comedic value, or it's got to be some real deal talk, or something interesting. It's got to be interesting, all right? D-Wag, too, we got to get that guy out here. I know what he's doing out there in his dumpster out there in Indiana, you know, but we got to get him out here too, and a whole bunch of other people. I'm just really excited about it, and I hope you guys are excited about it too, and I hope we can make it a lot of fun. You know, I was looking through YouTube the other day, and I was like, where's all the interesting streamers, man? You know, when I first came on YouTube, I had just a fucking one after the other, but they're all gone now. You know, I don't know if they just fizzled out, or their era they didn't continue to grow, or I don't know what happened. You know. A lot of the main people that I still watch is like Red Bar, and I watch, you know, ROTC, and of course Mersh, and, you know, I watch when Retro Nick puts up some videos, I'll go watch his videos. I'll throw on Professor Grass, you know, I'll watch his, and when FOMO goes on, I watch hers, and of course I watch Tony on There Goes the Neighborhood. You know, watch some Virgie sometimes. I got a good time doing that. And I try to keep a good rotation, you know, for basically based on the time of day and what I'm doing. Now, one of the things I have been doing a lot recently is I've been playing a lot of house music. You know, when they're flying over Sardinia, or over Greece, or over Indonesia, you know, and so I love having that. I got the house music going, I got the nice visuals, and I'm going pumping, you know, getting my work going, getting excited. And I'm about to do that here in a minute too. I'm going to get the lunch going. It's coming up on 12:27 Pacific Standard Time, people. So we're about to wrap it up here in a minute. But we're going to get all this stuff improved because it's fun. Because I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are too. And I want the quality to be better. And I want you guys to be like, yeah, this is a lot of fun. We're going to do this, right? So we're going to go ahead and get that going. And I'm going to have an outro stream because we got Spirit in here. Shout out to Spirit. Boom. We're going to have an outro stream thing so that everybody can say goodbye, because I learned that's important. I was just ending the streams. So everybody right now, use me right now as your outro stream, right? We're going bye-bye in about 30 seconds, okay? Use me as your outro stream. Say goodbye to everybody. And I don't know why I keep coughing, man. But say goodbye to everybody. We're going to get the shit going. Next week's going to be even better. I got all kinds of stuff lined up for this week, for this new challenge. It's going to be a lot of fun. And even if you're not going to participate in it, come join in and learn about it, man. And use it. I'm sure there's some area of your life that you want to have to be exciting, that you want to have to be adventuresome. And look, that's what it's all about. We want to make adventurers out here. I'm tired of watching it on the movies or on the TV or the video games where people are being adventurers in a video game, right? Where you're giving your time to somebody else, your effort, your money, your finances, and as soon as you turn that video game off, guess what? You ain't got shit, right? You didn't acquire the real gold. You don't even have a house. You don't have this, that. So how do we do that in real life? How do we turn it into real life adventuring, right? That's what we're all about here. That's what this channel is all about. We do it through the vehicles of art and now writing. We'll probably do cooking and some other stuff too. So let's fucking go. I hope you guys get out there and kick some ass today. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you do a lot of fun stuff and cut loose and just have a great time, okay? I'll have that music on the intro set up for next time. There was supposed to be music this time, the Ryan Harkness music, to brainwash y'all, but apparently I didn't set it up right or whatever. So those of you who guessed that there was supposed to be music, whatever, okay? But shout out to you guys. Kick some ass. Let's fucking go. Get after it.